Hello and a very warm welcome. The team here at My Tax Accountant and I have put together this guide to help you tackle what is, let's be honest, a huge milestone for any growing business in the UK, and that's getting registered for VAT. Our goal today is simple, to take this really complex topic and make it clear, straightforward, and most importantly, actionable for you. So let's just jump right in with the most important question. I want you to think about your business right now. Are your sales getting anywhere near that £90,000 mark? If the answer is yes, or even just a maybe, then you're absolutely in the right place. What we're about to cover in the next few minutes is going to be essential for you. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big one, when you have to register. Then we'll get into a bit of strategy and talk about whether you should register voluntarily. After that, I'll walk you through the online process, step by step. We'll also cover the crucial decision of picking the right VAT scheme. And finally, what life looks like once you're all set up. Sound good? Let's get started. Okay, let's dive into the nitty-gritty. The first thing we absolutely have to get our heads around is the exact moment VAT registration stops being a choice and becomes a legal requirement. Understanding these triggers is the foundation for staying on the right side of HMRC and avoiding any nasty penalties down the line. Right, so for this current tax year, there is one key number that every single business owner in the UK needs to have burned into their memory. It's the critical line in the sand that tells you when it's time to act. And here it is, £90,000. Now, it's so important to understand this isn't about your profit. Not at all. This is your total taxable turnover. That's the total value of everything you sell that isn't exempt from VAT. And did you know this includes things you might sell at a zero rate? So even if the goods themselves have 0% VAT, their value still counts towards hitting that £90,000 threshold. So how do you actually know if you've crossed that line? Well, HMRC has two ways of looking at it. The first one is kind of like looking in your rearview mirror. At the end of every single month, you need to check, has your turnover in the last 12 months gone over 90K? But there's also a forward-looking test. This is where you know for a fact that you're about to smash through that threshold in the next 30 days. Think about landing a huge new client or signing one massive contract. That's the trigger, and the clock starts ticking right away. And this table just lays it out perfectly. Let's take a look at Sarah in Manchester. Her amazing bakery tips over the threshold in the middle of July. So she has until the end of August to get registered, and her business officially starts charging VAT from September 1st. Simple enough. But now look at Tom up in Edinburgh. On the 1st of October, he signs a contract that he knows is worth 95K. He has to register by October 30th, but, and this is so important, his registration is backdated to the day he knew, which was October 1st. That means he's liable for VAT on that whole 95 grand contract. And here's a quick pro tip. If you're an overseas business selling into the UK, there's no threshold. None. You have to register from your very first sale. Now, it can be really tempting to just bury your head in the sand and put this off, but please, please don't. Missing that deadline isn't just a slap on the wrist. HMRC can hit you with penalties of up to 15% of the VAT you owe from the date you should have registered. So if you owed, say, £10,000 in that, that's a $1,500 penalty right off the bat. For a growing business, that is a serious and completely avoidable financial hit. Okay, but what if you're not near that £90,000 mark? You're not legally required to do anything. But this brings us to a really interesting strategic crossroads that every small business owner should think about. Voluntary registration. Is it actually a good idea or just more paperwork? Well, according to Eleanor Croft, one of the fantastic chartered tax advisors here at My Tax Accountant, for a huge majority of businesses, she reckons about 70%, it's a massive plus. You see, being able to claim back the VAT on your business costs isn't just pocket change. It can be a serious injection of cash that you can pump right back into growing your business, maybe funding a new hire or that expansion you've been dreaming of. Let's break it down. The biggest pro, without a doubt, is reclaiming VAT. Just imagine your business spends, say, £50,000 a year on things like stock, software, or equipment. At 20% VAT, that is £10,000 you could potentially get back from HMRC. Huge, right? Another pro is perception. Honestly, having a VAT number can make your business look bigger and more established. It's often a must-have for winning contracts with larger companies. But of course, there are downsides. You now have to add 20% VAT to your prices, which could make you less competitive if your customers are mainly the public or other small businesses who can't claim it back. And yes, there's the admin of filing those quarterly returns. Okay, so you've made the decision. Whether you have to or you want to, it's time to register. Now let's get into the practical side of things and actually walk through the online application. And the good news is, it's probably a lot more straightforward than you're imagining. For most businesses, it's all done online. Really, the whole thing can be boiled down to these 5 key stages. It all starts with a bit of prep work. Then you'll hop onto the Government Gateway portal, fill out the main application, make some really important choices we'll talk about in a minute, and then just hit submit and save your reference number. You can even save your progress as you go, which is super helpful. So here's a pro tip. Preparation is everything. Before you even think about logging in, get all of this information together in one place. If you're a sole trader, it's your personal tax info. If you run a limited company, it's your company details. And for everyone, you'll need your bank details and, this is key, your turnover figures. Having all this ready to go will turn what could be a headache into a pretty smooth 30-minute job. Now stay with me, because this next part might genuinely surprise you. Picking your VAT scheme isn't just some random box you tick on the form. This decision can have a massive, massive impact on your cash flow and your admin workload. Getting this right could literally save you thousands of pounds a year. Okay, so there are 4 main schemes to get your head around. The standard scheme is the default, and it's perfect for a business that buys a lot of stuff, like a construction firm in London buying materials. They need to claim all that VAT back. Then you have the flat rate scheme, which is an absolute game changer for businesses with low costs, like consultants or freelance copywriters. Let's say Emma, a copywriter, joins this scheme. She might pay a much lower fixed percentage of her turnover to HMRC, which is often less than the VAT she actually collects. It can save her a fortune. The annual accounting scheme is brilliant for seasonal businesses, maybe a seaside cafe, as it smooths out cash flow. And finally, the cash accounting scheme is a lifesaver if you give your clients credit. You only pay the VAT over to HMRC once you've actually been paid. But that's not all, and here's where a lot of people can go wrong. Getting that VAT number isn't the finish line. It's really just the start. Now you have to manage everything correctly to stay compliant, get back all the money you're owed, and avoid any unwanted attention from HMRC. A really big change is that since April 2022, making tax digital for VAT, or MTD, has been compulsory for all VAT registered businesses. What this means is you have to use HMRC-approved software, things like Xero, QuickBooks, or Free Agent, to keep your records and file your returns. The software might cost you somewhere between £100 and £500 a year, but it's a non-negotiable investment. MTD was brought in to slash the millions lost to simple mistakes, so this software doesn't just keep you compliant, it helps make sure your numbers are spot on. Now for the fun part, getting your money back. You can reclaim that on most of your business costs, but the rules are strict. For instance, and this is a big one, you absolutely cannot reclaim that on entertaining UK clients. It's just not allowed. And for costs that are mixed use, like your home broadband if you work from home, you can only claim the business portion. And the ultimate pro tip here is this. Keep every single VAT receipt and invoice for at least 6 years. HMRC is getting much smarter with its audits, and they are really clamping down on incorrect claims. Whew! Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. So, just to make sure all the really important stuff sinks in, let's do a super quick recap of the absolute must-know points from everything we've talked about.
Think of this as your final checklist. The magic number is £90,000. Your deadline is 30 days. Don't be late. Voluntary registration is a smart move if you have high costs. Do the maths. Choosing the right VAT scheme is critical for your cash flow. Choose wisely. MTD software is a must-have, not a nice-to-have. And finally, your records are your best friend. Keep them safe and sound for at least 6 years.
And that really brings us to our final thought. So often, VAT is just seen as a headache, another bit of admin to deal with. But what if you could flip that on its head? If you manage it well, pick the right scheme, and maximize every single reclaim, it can actually become a strategic tool that boosts your cash flow and helps fuel your business's growth.
Of course, every single business is different. If you've got questions or you just want some expert advice that's tailored specifically to you, please don't hesitate to get in touch with the brilliant team at My Tax Accountant. You can give them a call on 028 570 8531, or you can drop an email to info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk. They're there to help with VAT and pretty much any other tax issue you can think of.
And for more clear, simple guides just like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the My Tax Accountant YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today.